when you move forward? And how do you plan that? And what is the process?
Well, first of all, it's very important to understand the market, as was already said. And you need to understand your users. So essentially, you say, well, I'm developing a web application, so anybody who comes to my website is my user. That's not the case, because you have users who come to your website as customers, for example, if you're providing some B2C solution. And you also have some businesses who come to your website to sell their services. So you really need to identify the categories of your users. And then you need to design your product around each category. Then for each category of your users, you need to identify what they want to do on your website. And then you make really, really sure that it's very easy for them to do their primary task on your site. Or you also need to understand who you are competing with. You need to understand your focus. And the sharper the focus, the better. You really need to see where you're going. You need to choose your competitive advantage, define it, keep it in mind. You should be able to speak that advantage in one or two phrases. We are doing that, and we are better than anybody else because of that. And that would really help you to build your product. Once you have identified your customers, identified your focus, you actually start and design the interface, then you build the actual architecture of the application. Eventually, everybody wants to be successful, so eventually you will get lots of customers. So from day one, think of two things. These are important. How you can sell your product in different languages, physical languages. So how you want to translate it to different languages. And then you will grow big enough eventually. So think from the day one that you will be able to run your product on multiple computers, not on one box that is sitting in some kind of closet. But think how you could put it on the web on 10 computers or 15 computers. You don't have to, of course, buy the whole 15 computers from the day one, but you need to see the roadmap, how you will get there.
And I mean, we see multiple languages. I mean, it's probably one of the best assets that we have in Europe. So we have this huge diversity, but as well, to some extent, I mean, it's harder than in the US to just deploy with one language and one type of culture. So it's bringing a lot of complexity in the game with, and it's as well pretty hard for small companies to think or to try to go into this direction. So maybe you're working with a lot of startups, and you're having them as well growing. So how do you manage this complexity in terms of development, and what do you do to grow with that?
There are several methodologies in different directions. So for example, there is one direction is how to manage the project, how to manage people, how to assign tasks, and how to control everything. There are also, let's say, two big tribes that are managing projects in different ways. It's like waterfall approach with RUP and so on and so on. With classical project management with everything tracked with project plan and so on. And there is a tribe of agile methodologies. So at the beginning you should decide which should be better for you, and do not think that they seem to be logical and you can do them without studying. You should pay attention to small details and you should follow them, because it will help you in future for sure when to scale up your project. Because if you're doing everything by yourself, if you are inventing a wheel, for sure you will face a lot of pitfalls. So this is regarding methodology. The other side is regarding infrastructure. The same situation. When you are trying just to follow common sense, it works at the beginning. It works very well. But after that, when you are facing a big infrastructure with a lot of clients, with a lot of servers, with network, so on and so on, it is in trouble. You are facing a lot of deadlocks, pitfalls, and so on and so on. So pay attention to standard methodologies, for example, ITIL. So it's very easy to understand. It's not so hard. It's just enough to read something like ITIL for dummies, and you will know how to work with it. And just pay attention to this, and because a lot of startups are facing these problems, and after a huge success, only because the infrastructure is not scalable, for example, for some reason, or something like that, or the development team is not able to be scalable also. If you are adding new people, for example, to your team, doesn't affect productivity, it even goes down. So it's standard situation, and the main problem. So if you are really going to make a big business, even if it starts from a very small one, you should be ready to scale up. So just pay attention to world practices in each domain, and for sure you will succeed.
Can I add something?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I have some slightly different perspective on that, which is that don't implement more process than you need. So you need to start with the right level of process. And I think for a lot of you guys in the early stages, or for startups in the early stages where you have an idea, but you're not really sure, if the market, you're making a bet, right, with the market you're going after and your concept will work. And you'll find that you'll end up doing a lot of iterations. So you don't want to put a process in place that prevents you from iterating fairly quickly. So you want a light process that's guiding you and helping you and works for your team. But you don't need more process. Don't implement a process for the sake of the process. It has to serve you, not the other way around. So be conscious about that. And then as your team evolves, your product evolves, then you can layer on the process, scale the process with you. But don't buy something in a way where you don't need all that capacity.
But stressing out as well.
You can scale up the process also only in this case when you are focusing on some process. If it's invented by you, for sure, almost in 100% it won't be scalable. So.
And this is as well, raising the concept of integration of partners or suppliers and trying as well to link some of your functionalities or core functionalities with other functionalities. So, Google provides a lot of APIs. How does it work and how do you work with companies for that? And can you make a comment on these interactions that you have with your product?
Suppose, Google provides APIs, well, Google has a strategy that it wants to make its products accessible as easily as possible. So anything that can be given away easily, that is given away. So pretty much every public product has API that can be accessible by developers, outside developers, like Maps or Google Docs. Now it's Google Gears, that is the special platform for developing applications, scalable applications. It's trying to build.
Maybe Stephanie, you have some more about integration.
Yeah,
Like your experience.
I'm taking Skype because I think it's more regenerative. You could also choose that some advertising and content partners. But what you want to create is an ecosystem whereby people can piggyback on your product but integrate it in a nice way so that also not only you've got that full bunch of partners that are supporting you from either a revenue perspective or an integration perspective, but also from a brand perspective, because that carrying out your brand. When you got, I think someone earlier was the multiple IM company was talking about we going into Skype API and integrating with that, etc. At the end of the day, they're going to mention your brand, they're going to mention your product, and you want to create that kind of